guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for tonight's video, we're going to be reading some more scary stories. As per usual, I have my wicked candle in here, making the home smell like caramel apples. So I am dog sitting my girlfriend's dog right now. So if you hear any growling or barking in the background, she won't stop. So she is out in my hallway right now, just growling at literally nothing. So that's kind of spooky, but if you hear that, please ignore it. I'm hoping you guys won't, because she's quite small and she's like in another room, but you might hear a little bit of growling because she's a Jack Russell and that's just kind of what they do. I'm going to be reading a bunch of Let's Not Meet stories. So this is from the Reddit author Nadja Collette, and it is titled A Stranger Tried to Steal My Dog and Another Nightmare Before Christmas. This happened before Christmas 2019 when I was 26. It sticks with me to this day. I thought about sharing this many times, but I was never sure if it was scary enough, so I guess you guys can decide. My then boyfriend, now husband, and I decided to meet for dinner at a Christmas market in Switzerland. He would pick up our dog from doggy daycare, and I would get there after work. Some things that are good to know, at that point, we'd had our dog for about a year. His name is Bean. He's a medium-sized dog, and before he came to Switzerland, he was a street dog in Italy. He was about 2.5 years old at the time, and he loved and still loves to get all of the attention he can get. Also, Christmas markets are incredibly busy, especially after work. People will meet with friends and eat dinner and drink. When we got to this Christmas market, however, we realized that it was way too busy to walk with a dog, and I sent my boyfriend off to get my favorite street food. I waited at the edge of the market with Bean. Bean likes to greet everyone who looks at him, and by that point, I had gotten used to talking with strangers because my dog always wanted to meet them. So I wasn't too concerned at first when a dude came up to me. Full transparency, I don't remember word for word what he said, and I'm not even sure what language this happened in. I do remember that Bean happily greeted this guy, trying to stand up against him and lick his hand. The guy asked for his name and what breed he was. This is when the situation started to turn south. The man insisted that he must be something else. How could I say that he was a pinscher? When all of a sudden, he just switched. There was no better word to explain it. He grabbed Bean's leash and said, "I'm leaving now." And he just tried to walk off with my dog. Thankfully, I had a firm grip on the leash. I was incredibly confused and flustered and just stammered that he wasn't allowed to take my dog. He got increasingly more angry with every second that I didn't let go of the leash. I loudly told him to leave me alone, and Bean started to bark at the man. I've never seen Bean this angry or scared at the same time, and thankfully, the man did let go of the leash and slipped into the crowd. I was left standing there dumbfounded with a mess of a dog. Bean was barking and shaking, so I knelt down to calm him down, holding him and talking to him. My boyfriend was still in the crowd waiting for our food. After a while, a woman walked up to me and told me not to put my heel on the floor, that she saw someone put a firecracker under my foot. Now, I don't know what's worse. Was it the guy that was trying to steal Bean, or was it someone else who saw a distressed dog and thought, wow, let's take this further and try to scare the dog even more? I think the worst thing for me was, apart from that woman who warned me, no one helped me when I was harassed by a weird guy, even though I was very loud when I told him to go away, and there were other people standing very close, just fucking watching. Bean was the one who scared the guy off in the end. Thankfully, the events of that evening had no lasting impact on Bean. He still loves to greet strangers, and I still remember it, and I don't think I ever will forget. So to the man who tried to steal my dog at a Christmas market, let's never meet again. That's really weird. I'm very sorry that no one tried to help you. Like, that's bullshit. If I had been there and I saw that somebody was trying to literally take someone's dog, I would be full blown in there being like, what the actual fuck are you doing? Like, that's just really weird behavior and not okay. And I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. That is crazy and absolutely terrifying and just all around, like, weird. Like, why would nobody help you? Like, I don't know. That's really, really crappy. The next one is from the Reddit author Historical Track 5476, and it's titled Getting Chased by a Man in the Woods. So one night, me and my friends were playing hide and seek in our hometown. We were about 13 at the time. I went into a small area that is basically like a shortcut from the main road to the side road. I unfortunately went alone, and I didn't even think about what could happen. We were only 13 at the time, and we didn't bring phones with us, so if something happened to us, no one would ever know. The game started, and I was sprinting into the woods for about 30 seconds. We have a rule that we have to come to the checkpoint where we start, and we have to save ourselves from not getting picked to search. After around 1 minute, I started hearing footsteps. I called out if it was one of my friends. And there was somebody there, but they didn't say anything. So I started to back out. Fortunately, the wooded area has a main route and 2 side ones, and I could run either way. I started backing out, and from out of nowhere, a man appears from the woods and starts sprinting at me, singing a song like "I'm Gonna Catch You" in a creepy and very eerie voice. I trained soccer though, so I knew I could definitely outrun him or at least make him tired. I sprinted all the way through the woods with only light being the moon, and after around 2 minutes, he did give up. I continued sprinting and got myself all the way to the checkpoint and told all of my friends what had happened. Of course, no one believed me. To this day, I still don't know who or what had tried to catch me that night, but for sure know that if I wasn't a sports guy, the outcome would have been very different. So to the man who chased me through the woods when I was 13, let's never meet again. That's really creepy. That's just really weird, and maybe don't play hide and seek in that area because that just doesn't sound very safe at all. That is really fucking creepy. People are just really weird. The next one is from the Reddit author Z Lewis Ideal Dog 3022, and it's titled "Someone Tried to Break Into My House and Find Me." This story happened 3 years ago, so it was just a while back, but still worthy to post. It was early 2020, and I had just gotten a new job in a small town near my area. While looking for a place to live, my sister offered to rent her house to me. She had bought a house 2 years prior that she and her husband didn't really take to, and their commute to work was long, so they moved out, and the house was uninhabited. Luckily for me, it was actually pretty close to my work, about a 40-minute drive or so, and my sister pretty much rented it out to me for free. I just paid for the water and electricity, and I looked after the house. I was living there for a solid 2 to 3 months and had already gotten used to it. One night though, after coming back from work, I parked my car as I walked towards my door. I noticed that something was odd. There was a cigarette butt on the curb of my house. I leaned down and I picked it up, thinking that it might have been mine since I am a smoker, but after looking at the brand name, I realized it wasn't mine and just threw it away. I didn't really think much of it and just shrugged it off as some asshole throwing it at my curb. I went on with my night, and nothing unusual really happened. 2 days later, I was once again walking to my house when I spotted a few more cigarette butts, this time near my porch. Needless to say, I was pretty pissed off and thought that someone was on my porch and smoking. But since I didn't know who it was, there was really nothing I could do about it. I noticed that they were put out pretty recently, so whoever it was probably walked off as I was approaching. That night, I was watching a movie on my laptop, and it was pretty late. It was about 1 a.m., and I was surprised when I heard a car passing by. It's a suburban neighborhood, so people rarely ventured out at night, but I didn't really think much of it. Around half an hour later, I was surprised when I heard chattering nearby. I listened intently, but I couldn't hear what they were talking about, as their voices seemed almost muffled. By this point, I was getting a bit unnerved, so I stopped the movie and I quietly got off my sofa. I walked to the front door to make sure that it was locked, and as I was approaching the door, I froze mid-step, as I heard the two approaching my porch, and reduced their talking to a whisper. I realized right away that whoever this was wanted to break into my house. I leaned against the front door and I waited, expecting a loud bang against the door or the doorknob to be shaken, but it was oddly quiet. I decided to walk over to my window to see if they had walked away or changed their mind. My windows do have bars from the inside out that you have to unlock so that you can move the curtains or look out through the window comfortably. I slowly unlocked the bar mechanism and I lifted it up. I moved the curtain and was taken back. Leaning up against my window was a man. He was startled as I was because he basically stuttered over his own steps as he jumped back. He tightened his hoodie to cover his face, so all I could really see was his big blue eyes looking at me. His friend realized what was going on and right away started to try to kick the door in. He kicked it a solid 4 or 5 times, but the door wasn't going to budge. All the while, I was staring at them, frozen in absolute fear, and trying to comprehend the situation. I snapped out of it and I slammed the bars over my window, locking them and running up the stairs to my storage room, where I pushed a table up to the door and I called the police. As I listened, I expected the two to come inside any minute, and I heard a loud crash and the bars from the windows being shaken aggressively. When they realized that they couldn't get in, one of them let out a loud, angry scream that probably woke up half the neighborhood. By the time the cops came, they were long gone. The police couldn't find out who it was, but they were more active in the neighborhood the following weeks. Regardless, I wasn't too keen on staying there, so shortly after, I did move out. My sister sold the house a few months later, and as far as I know, nothing similar has ever happened. I honestly don't know what they wanted or why they were so determined to get in, but whoever it was, let's not meet again. That's really fucking weird. The fact that they literally like made eye contact with you and then still tried to continue to break into your house is bizarre. Like, maybe they weren't in the right state of mind. Maybe they were on drugs. Maybe they were just, I don't know. That's a very bizarre situation to be in. Like, you would think that if they saw your face and they realized that you were home and you knew that they were going to break in and you literally saw them, that they would have ran away. But people are really strange. So that is very, very bizarre, but thank you so much for allowing me to read it, and I'm glad nothing happened to you. This one is actually on key with what I was just talking about. This is from the Reddit author Koala Life 4089, and it's titled, People Are Scarier Than Anything Paranormal. This is a true story of something I experienced. It must have been over a decade by now. I was a kid at the time, and my dad bought this quaint house on the outskirts of a little town. It was a decently sized home with a big backyard overlooking the marshes and unused farmers' fields. And the only entrance to it was either through the house or across the large fields. To put into context how this fits into the story was because my bedroom at the time was situated at the back of the house facing the backyard. I remember this one night very vividly. I was sitting in my room doing digital artwork on my computer. It was something I loved to do as a teenager, and usually I would listen to music with headphones on. The way I was sitting had me facing semi away from the big window in my room, the largest in the house. I had my blackout blinds drawn, and it was the only room in the entire house that had a light on. And I assumed from the outside you'd see silvers of light through the edges of the folding blinds. I think it was between 2 or 3 in the morning. I was peacefully minding my own business when I heard a massive slam on my window. It was a dull but loud thud, and what I thought was a shout. My dad was sleeping peacefully in the room next to me. How he didn't hear anything at the time still amazes me to this day. I remember just sitting there, no clue what I had just heard, until it happened again. I heard it clear. Somebody was outside my window, in the backyard, and whoever this was had absolutely no reason to be there. I remember being way too scared to even open my blinds. Instead, I got up, just staring at the window, not taking my eyes off of it. Something I'm thankful for to this day was I went with my gut feeling. My gut was telling me to grab my flashlight and check the front door. This was a very old house, so I would have to leave the comfort of the house to enter the barn to get to the main entrance of the house. I remember shining my light through the glass in the door. The window had a frosted film for privacy, but sure enough, I barely got the flashlight lifted 3 or 4 inches to the glass before seeing the coat of whoever was out there. The real kicker? Absolute terror set in when I realized the door hadn't been locked the entire time. I managed to lock it and run inside, and the first thing I grabbed was a bread knife. Not practical, but when your adrenaline and fear are on course through your brain, it's the last thing you think of. I remember trying to wake my dad up, who was passed out, to see whoever was outside. We never found the man, and he didn't ever come back. Had I not locked the door, prank or not, I dread to think of what would have happened to me. I've seen some shit in my life, but people will forever scare me. So whoever tried to break into my house at 3 or 4 in the morning, let's never meet again. Holy crap, that's so fucking terrifying. I don't understand what, the purpose of people breaking into houses, especially at night. 3 or 4 in the morning, you obviously know that people are going to be home. You don't have any good reason to be in somebody's backyard at that time of night. That's just fucking weird. Let's not break into people's houses. Let's not be super creepy and weird and terrify kids because you were, 13 at the time? These are things that happened to you guys when you were that age that have sat with you for the rest of your lives and have changed you. And obviously it's made you guys be a little bit more aware of your surroundings and a little bit more fearful. That is a fucked up situation to be in when you are that age. So all of these stories are really creepy. Thank you so much for allowing me to read these stories. This is all of the Let's Not Meet stories I have at the moment. So I will definitely try to find more for you guys to read on my channel in the future. But I have been fighting a cold for the last week or so. You guys can probably tell with my voice, I sound a little bit off. So this is where I'm going to end the video because I have been talking for 17 minutes straight now and my voice is starting to get croaky and I need some water and I need to edit this and post it. I am trying to get back on a schedule of posting about 2 to 3 videos a week for you guys, but I have had a harder time finding stories that I think that the channel is going to enjoy. So if you guys have any personalized scary stories that you want to share with the channel, please feel free to message me either over my email or over Instagram, and I will definitely read your guys' personalized stories. My audience definitely likes the true stories more than the fictional ones. I can definitely find fictional stories for you guys, no problem at all. Like No Sleep has tons of them, but I know you guys prefer the true ones. So if you guys have any true stories that you want to share with the channel, please feel free to reach out to me, or if you know any stories that are true from other authors that you can get permission to read by, please feel free to send me the links and I will definitely contact the authors and see if I can read their stories. But if you guys can help me at all, that would be so great. If you guys made it to the end of the video, please leave me your favorite knife emoji in my comment section down below, or leave me any comment that you want to leave, just letting me know that you guys made it to the end, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.